Hey, Facebook family. Get it started. That's him. That right?
Welcome to another edition of the Empower Hour. I am Al
And
Kumar,
I'm Hanifa.
and we're your hosts each and every Wednesday from 2 to 3 p.m. where we come to you with impactful topics of discussion that affect our everyday lives. Today in the studio will be no different. We have a special guest with us, Goddess Necbet.
Yes.
Hey y'all.
Welcome
Nice to meet y'all.
welcome her to the program.
First time.
Yay.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us, and this should be a very intensive discussion. And I know you were sharing that this is like your first time ever kind of expressing these views out to the public.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
So yeah, this is new for you.
it is.
Okay.
Thank you for trusting us.
Yes.
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 Absolutely.
So the topic of our discussion today is rape in the military. And so our sister here is here to talk to us about that. You want to say anything?
No, I'm just saying welcome. I just want to, we can start out by just, you can go ahead and introduce yourself to our listening audience and to us, since this is, well, you know, both of us, I guess. Since this is your first time here, just tell us who you are, a little bit about your background, and even the military background. We can start there.
All right.
Yeah.
So my name is Goddess Necbit. I'm business owner of Necbit's Niche, which is handmade healing stone jewelry, which I will get to eventually. Also, I had spent 4 years and some change in the Navy. 1 year of that I had spent with the Marine Corps as a Navy corpsman attached to the 3rd Medical Battalion. So I was actually forward deployed, but you know, not really there. But yeah, I have a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on, you know, behind the scenes in the military that they don't really necessarily discuss.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I feel as though now's the time to really, you know, get to the nitty gritty about it. We gotta talk about it. It's very important.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
How old were you when you first went into the military?
So I had enlisted at 17. I had my mom have to sign me over. And yeah,
So right out of high school?
yes, right out of high school. I had actually enlisted the summer before my senior year, and then I had shipped off 2 months after I had graduated.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
So was that like a lifelong goal, a dream of yours?
it wasn't.
How did you find yourself enlisted at 17?
So how it happened, basically, you know, a lot of times in our community, we got single moms. My mama was a single mama. And, you know, I'm the eldest of 4. I'll be 27 on Saturday. And, you know, I have younger siblings, you know, I have to look out for as well, besides myself and her. And basically she had lost her job working for DC government. And being the eldest, I had to figure out what I had to do to help kind of take the pressure off and, you know, be there for her in that light. So I had decided to enlist, you know, after my grandpa had a good talk with me about it. He had served in the Navy for 2 years as a radioman. And my father served as well. So I have a military background, but it wasn't a dream of mine. I wanted to go away from that. But being that the circumstances in life, you know, I found myself making a choice. You know, I didn't really necessarily want to do it for me, but I felt like I had to do it for my family.
Okay,
So-
interesting. So your scenario is not too different from a lot of people's, where the economics, the finance thing comes into play.
Yeah.
People, you know, feel like going into the military could help alleviate some of those
Exactly.
burdens.
And opportunities too, which still is connected to the economic. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, so you enlisted at 17
Yes.
into the Navy.
Yes.
And then you said you went in as, what was your title?
Well, I was a hospital corpsman, which basically was medical, almost like a They're not a nurse, but they're not a basic tech either. They're like in the middle. We were trusted to do like blood tests and things of that
Okay,
nature. Like
Okay.
I could do stitches. Like I've stitched people up before, no problem. By myself. I was able to do things outside of the normal scope of practice of like a medical assistant, but I'm not a nurse either.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha. And so you went away.
I actually did, yeah. I had served 1 year in Okinawa, Japan,
Oh.
with the Marine Corps.
Okay.
Basically, the Marines, they don't have their own health care. The Navy, they provide everything to the Marine Corps because they're a branch of the Navy,
Okay.
technically. And as a corpsman, basically your main purpose, they train you in emergency medicine. So, for instance, if you're deployed and somebody gets shot, you know what to do. If somebody gets blown up, you know what to do. Like, very intense stuff.
Okay.
Very intense.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So so you find yourself in Japan. Is that
Yes.
the beginning of your
That wasn't at
journey?
the beginning. That was actually the ending of my journey. That was my last station, my second and last station.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
My first station, I was up here in Bethesda at the National Naval Medical Center. That's what we're gonna call that, 'cause that's what it was originally.
Okay. What
Yeah.
is it now?
The Walter Reed
Walter Reed.
National.
Oh.
Yes, I was stationed there before
Okay.
the Army had came over and did the base realignment and closure, or BRAC. That's what we call that. They had shut down the Walter Reed in DC, and they had came over
Under
to
a bunch of
Bethesda,
controversy. I
basically.
forget that.
And, it was a mess. And, they came over there to Bethesda with the same stuff. So essentially, that beautiful facility they have up there is going to turn into the same thing because they don't run it any different.
Interesting. So that's a whole other topic
Yeah.
discussion.
Got stories for days about it.
Okay. So, let's jump right into the whole rape scenario.
Okay.
Okay, because I don't know the story.
Yeah.
So this is going to be news for the both of us as well.
Yeah.
So tell us, how did you get to that point? What happened?
Okay. So I was stationed in Okinawa at the time with the Marines.
How old?
I was this was back in 2013, 2014, so 24.
Okay.
Well, yeah, 24.
Okay.
25. But basically what had happened was I had been seeing a guy on and off. It's very common in the military, for there to be dating in the ranks. You might not necessarily be serious, but it's a lot of, undercover stuff going on. And basically it was this guy I was seeing while I was there, and
Do you say you're not supposed to see? Date?
You can,
fellow?
but the thing is with that, it's a lot of rules and regulations behind that, and then it turns into a lot of mess because essentially that's your job.
Okay.
It's just like you
Okay.
working at Best Buy or somewhere like that and you talking to one of your co-workers. It's the same mess.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, basically I was seeing the guy on and off, and I remember one occasion, he came banging on my door drunk, trying to get in there, for that. And, I'm like, no, go away. He's still banging on the door, harassing. It's in the middle of the night. And I'm like, yo, I gotta be my post in the morning. Like, you playing too much. I should have took that as a warning, like he's, different than what I thought he was.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, this one time we had went out on base. They had bases, they have clubs and stuff on base, because especially in Okinawa, they're restricted. It's a lot of rape culture out there, like to the point where they have something called a liberty system.
Wow.
Like they tell you based on the card they issue you what you can and can't do, how late you can stay off base, all of that stuff. And so yeah, a lot of us, like me, I was a white card. I had the most basic level. That's right before restricted, which means you can't do jack because you're in trouble. So I would go to club on base because I can't go off base and do nothing, and not within reasonable hours. And we had went there, we're drinking and stuff, no big deal. I can handle my liquor though. And we're out having a good time, dancing and stuff, and then we get back, And, you know, it started off, you know, normal. You know, it was consensual at first. I remember at one point feeling a pain, you know, ripped threw me down low. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Give me a minute. And he would not get off. He just kept going. I'm like, stop. Like, what are you doing? I'm hitting him, whatever I could do. He would not get off me. He was just not moving. And, you know, after a while, I just let it happen. Because it just, I was bigger than what I am now, but I wasn't stronger than him. And, you know, I didn't know what could possibly happen next. Like if he strike me or choke me, anything. So I just let it happen. And, you know, when it all finished and, you know, I just had to have him get out. I didn't want to talk about what happened. I didn't want to see him anymore. Just get out. And, you know, really to this day, really, like I haven't really talked about that because, especially there, I had experienced a lot of issues when I would come to say something, especially because I was injured. You know, I would be feeling hurt or something like that, and I would go to my leadership, and it would be an issue. It would never be, oh, okay, well, do what you need to do to take care of yourself. It was always, oh, why are you always crying about it? You're such a baby. Yeah, that's the culture there, especially when you're with the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps, they're the first out. So you gotta be hard, you gotta be like a robot to deal with it. And they had basically anything I would say, it was just like, oh, whatever, you're doing too much. Oh, gosh, why are you always crying? So after a while, I just stopped going to them about anything. It was to the point where when I had left the command, I couldn't even rely on them to help me get my paperwork done. I had to do it on my own. And then they're telling me, why are you rushing? What do you mean, why am I rushing?
So what happened to him?
Nothing, because I didn't say anything.
It was just, yeah, so you didn't make a report at all?
I didn't make a report because what tends to happen in the service when, especially women of color, when you have some type of grievance or you're dealing with some type of mistreatment or anything of that nature, like, it gets thrown back on you like, oh, you're whining too much or you're pulling that card. Or, you know, especially when it comes to rape, like, you can't say anything about it. It's automatically his side over yours. They don't believe you. And it's so many people I've ran across in the service, women, especially of color, that have been raped and had been just like me, didn't say a word because of the backlash that would come from trying to reveal that to your chain of command. They will pick with you incessantly about it.
So you're saying there's a lot of this going on.
It's so common, it's not even funny. They don't talk about it because, you know, essentially at the end of the day, that messes with the country's readiness. They're not going to talk about that because, you know, at the end of the day, that's going to keep other women from coming in. And it's going to keep, you know, men from coming in because essentially, too, they're going to look at it as, oh, well, all these men out here raping, that's going to make me look bad. I don't want no parts of that, you know.
Right.
So,
Did you have any type of support system while you were there outside?
No.
None.
Now, before the incident happened, and I'm so sorry that happened to you, did you hear like chatter around as far as other people, this happening to other people? So there is like, it's like an open secret maybe?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Like, for instance, my leader, she wasn't of color. She was from Russia. But same thing. She had been raped at a command before that when we were at, when she was younger. And yeah, they covered it up. She went and told somebody about it. They didn't believe her. They covered it up. They basically let him get away with a slap on the wrist. And she was just stuck with the crap that remains. You know what I'm saying? They don't talk about, you know, the anxiety and the PTSD and all this stuff that comes from that. And, you know, especially being women, how we have to walk around with that, we can't necessarily have a safe space to talk about it because of the fear of the stigma of, oh, hey, you know, you're a crybaby, or oh, hey, you know, you're too emotional, or whatever the case is.
Yeah, because you already have, it sounds like women already have this thing against them. You're a woman.
Yeah.
Why are you even here in the military? You know what I mean? Like some people, the Marines, you know, exactly.
I don't even want to go with them. That's the crazy part.
Right, and that stigma is already there, or you know, because you've seen people where they were fighting for different things. Why can't women be on the front line? Like you, over the years, you've seen that, so you already have that there as a woman. So now it's like you don't want to come off weak or like a crybaby. So I see it's almost like a code of silence that's there, a culture of silence that's there. So what have you ever seen anyone held responsible or held accountable for maybe it's a rape of any sort?
Well, yeah, I have. Actually, the reason why that Liberty Card thing was in place that I was telling y'all about is because there were some sailors that had came over on a UDP with some Marines.
What's a UDP?
A unit deployment program. That's what they call it. But it's basically like a short little training trip. They'll deploy for a short period of time on a ship so they can get used to shipboard life.
I see.
And get used to being deployed, you know, to get that little taste. And then they'll go to different little countries like to experience the culture, so that way if they get deployed later down the line, they're familiar.
I got you.
But yeah, they had came over, you know, to Okinawa, and mind you, Okinawa, they have the highest life expectancy in the world. It's a very calm, relaxed area. People in their 80s, 90s, you can see them walking down the street, working out. Like, it's a whole different culture over there. And they came over there and basically were raping the locals and the natives because they were on deployment for so long, they don't know how to act. So they came off the ship and was raping the locals, and basically they had ended up going to what they call non-judicial punishment, or what the Navy calls captain mass.
Which is what?
Basically it's like a court proceeding in the military.
Okay.
But it's held to the Uniform Code of Military Justice and not the Constitution and stuff out here.
Gotcha.
And yeah, basically I guess they got bust down in rank, got kicked out, among other things, but also, you know, to prevent further things like that from happening, so to say, they put the Liberty Card thing in place.
Wow. So they had prevented anybody to be like on the land after hours.
Well, it's not any. It's certain levels to it, and it all depends on where you fall. So for me, because I was a bigger girl, I was in fat camp and things of that nature, I had a white card because I wasn't in height and weight standards.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you what determines that. Like
Height and weight.
Okay, so right, that's for the white card. So there's different things that qualify you for certain colors.
So for instance, if you were there for a while and you had got studied for your warfare device, they called it the FMF pin, the Fleet Marine Force. If you studied for that pin and you successfully went through your personnel qualification standards and things of that nature, and you got this pin, you were able to have a gold card, which means you could go buy a car, you could drive around the island, do whatever you want, stay off base. You know, it's basically like a free ride.
That's if you pass that. It's a test.
Right. That's
Right.
correct. So
Okay.
you basically you study for this thing. They take you outside for a week and make you do crazy stuff, just extra stuff to make it harder on you to.
Right. So you can qualify for that color, but you're still a rapist, and so you have the liberty now to be out there doing whatever you want,
Basically.
but you could still.
That's
pretty
if
much
they
be a
don't
rapist.
take it away, right?
Right. I mean, meaning like that you just haven't been caught.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say, because people are not reporting that. Okay.
So the things that you're required to do to get these colors or go up the notches will determine how beneficial you are to the military. I mean,
Almost in a way, yeah. Because, for instance, that pin, it allows you to get attached to more units. Like, they'll attach you to a unit anyway. Like me, I went over there, I didn't have no type of affiliation or nothing. I came straight from the training, the FMF training. you know.
Mhm.
And when you get the pen, you know, it's like, okay, you know what you're doing. So you know what? You know, you're gonna have more opportunity to go here and here and here. That's Fleet Marine Force because you have that qualification. You know, you're a subject matter expert. That's basically what that says when you have that one.
Wow. So it's beneficial to you.
Yes,
To do all the things that you
right,
that
because
they
it also helps you make
requiring.
rank. It also helps you make rank too because it makes you have to take tests to make rank. So if you ain't like for me, for instance, when I got that one little promotion I got to E4, I had took that test 3 times and passed each time. It's just if you're not within a certain bracket, you're not gonna get it. So you can pass but not advance. That's basically what happened to me 3 times before I made it.
So if someone is like in your situation, someone was violated, right?
Yeah.
Are they allowed to, let's say they report it or don't report it, but they want to leave because of the situation that happened?
No.
You're not.
No.
Okay.
No. When you're assigned orders, unless something drastic happens to where, like for instance, if I were to report it and they were to do something about it, and it's a conflict of interest, then they'll move you.
But they move
some-
you, but you can't.
But you can't.
leave
You
the
want to go
military.
home. I don't want to do this no
ain't
more.
ain't none of that. No, you in the military, baby. You don't have that option. You have to thug it out. I was stuck on that island for months after that happened to me. I was kicked out, but not kicked out. Sitting there waiting for my day to leave for months.
Now, when you say kicked out but not kicked out,
Yeah.
why? What
Well,
did you
for
say?
me, remember I was telling you a few weeks ago, I used to be bigger. You
Yeah.
know, in the service, at my biggest, I was 185 pounds. I was on birth control, y'all know how that is. And basically, because remember the height and weight standards, I didn't fit within that. So after height and weight standards comes BCA, body composition. So they'll measure you and then get a body fat percentage. I didn't even fall into that anymore. So they basically had said, all right, this is your 3rd time failing, you gotta go. So as a result of that, I was in limbo waiting for them to basically tell me, oh, all right, you could go. So they would send me to do different little odd jobs. I was cleaning up after people, even though I'm in the medical field, cleaning up after people, doing wall-to-wall inventories and stuff.
So you gained this weight after you went into the military, obviously.
Yes, I had entered the military at 138 pounds.
Did the rape scenario you think have anything to do with you gaining?
Oh, part of it, yeah. After that had happened, absolutely, because of the stress and having to carry that, and I have a tendency when I'm depressed to eat. So yeah, it definitely had something to do with it.
But they don't give you guys support in like
help you lose the weight.
I mean,
Yeah, they do.
No, the stress or
No,
That's
it's
a
what
lot
they say.
of
It's
people.
their mental health services.
Yeah,
They have mental
Okay.
health services, but it's mainly geared towards the people that have been deployed and got PTSD real bad. It's not even really anything geared
You can
toward-
request to go to it.
You can, but if they don't see anything wrong with you, they're not going to send you. And that's the military culture.
But who makes that judgment? Who does an assessment to determine if something
doctors.
is wrong? Okay, so there's the doctors first, and then there's the mental health professional,
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah.
So the doctor is like the filter,
Yeah.
and who determines whether you make the cut to go to the mental health
Yeah.
professional?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not even just that. Like for instance, basic sick call. So in the military, some days you wake up, you don't feel good at all. You sick. Ain't no, oh, let me call my superior and say I'm gonna stay in the bed for the day. Ain't none of that. You gotta get up, get your uniform on, strap your boots on, make sure they shine. Go down here and talk to your superior. Hey, I need to go to sick call. You go stand in line for however long that line is until the doctor can see you. That's if they can see you. You sit in there with them and they tell you, oh, you're sick. We're gonna give you light duty or we're gonna give you SIQ for the day.
light duty.
Yes. you still gotta work. Or if they give you sick and quarters, they'll tell you however many days you could be off. That's it.
And this is for everybody?
Yes, for everybody. Ain't no way around it. No way around it. You don't not bring your tail to mustard.
What happened?
Oh yeah, you are AWOL. Absent without leave.
And then what?
Oh, non-judicial punishment, you gotta go to captain's max.
And, I mean, what happens at that point?
It depends what the judge wanna do to you. If you go to the brig or whatever.
So the brig, so they can detain you
They
and
can
lock
do
you?
whatever they wanna do to you. And the
It sounds
Constitution
like you
can't
got-
touch them.
I was just gonna say, sounds like when you join the military, you become property.
You
Yeah,
are
they own
property.
Yeah.
You are.
No doubt.
You are.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so why would okay. I'm not go ahead. I think I know the answer to that, but yeah.
Mm.
Because you just in the beginning of the program you talked about pretty much what brought you into the military in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, and it looks like it's a bless you, baby. It looks like it's a toss up. Like you have to make a decision between struggling out here and trying to make ends meet versus being owned, and that's some decision you would have to make.
Funny thing is, you still struggling on the inside.
Okay.
It's not no type of relief. But I could tell you right now, my predicament right now, like, ain't no help. Ain't none.
What makes you say that?
There are different agencies out here that say they help veterans and, you know, they're here for you. Oh, we care. And you call, they don't have budget. They don't have nothing. to
That's
help
out
you.
here. So,
Everywhere.
Okay.
I'm talking about experience in Texas when I used to live there and here. Because before I even moved to Texas, I was trying to make things work here. And found I had to move out there to get ahead.
In the military.
Well, not in the military. This is after I got out
In
as
Texas.
a veteran.
Okay.
You know, trying to find some type of assistance with life. You know, and yeah, they're not there. You're still struggling after. Matter of fact, let me tell you this. This is a funny thing. I'm a disabled veteran. I get paid more as a disabled veteran being out of the military than I did when I was in, giving all my blood, sweat, and tears and energy.
Wow.
Running clinics, seeing patients, all of that. Getting paid more out than I was in.
So after this incident happened, you spent some time there before you actually left the military,
Yeah.
right? So once you got out, were you able to find some help to help you kind of process what happened?
I didn't want the help.
You didn't want it, okay.
I didn't start trying to find help for anything with my mental state until I moved to Texas. And that was back probably 2 years ago.
What made you decide to do that?
Just tired of feeling heavy. Just a lot, you know, trying to run a business and trying to find some type of foundation, you know, to build up on. And I got all this going on up here. In my mind, it's already bad enough I'm a Gemini, you know, my mind is constantly going as it is. And to have all of that on you as well is just, you know, a lot. It's a whole lot. And when I finally did try to get the help, that's not even that great. Like, you gotta wait. Like, I've been home since January. I called the VA to make an appointment so I could get seen up here. They could switch me from Texas. I'm not gonna be able to get seen till next week. The 18th of this month.
So that's like almost 6 months. For help for.
That's just to get the initial appointment to get seen to get put in the system here. That's not even going to see a mental health professional or none of that. That's just the basic little first appointment.
Wow. Wow.
What would you say to like maybe parents? Let's say I'm a parent and I have a daughter, you know, and she's talking about joining the military and she's adamant, you know, she's excited about it. And she thinks she has it all figured out, you know how teenagers can be.
I know
Well,
how
I'm
it
gonna
was,
do
yeah.
right. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And because whenever I hear teens talk about the military, it's from that angle. It's where they have a plan. They're trying to be strategic, right? So what do you say to a little girl, maybe not even a parent, a teen, 17-year-old,
Yeah.
you know, anxious to get into the military, don't really know the back end of it? What do you say to that? What is important that, what do you find that is important that that child knows, that teen girl?
Well, one thing I always make sure when I tell anybody that ever asks me, I give it to them real raw and uncut. I tell them my story because you need to know. These recruiters and stuff, they get money off of every head that come through that door and sign that paper. You know what I'm saying? They get paid to talk you into joining. So you need to be cognizant of what's going on. What I say, I say talk to other veterans that you may know.
Right.
It don't matter what branch. Find all branches if you can, and find their story. Listen to their story. You know, because there are things that you have to deal with, and you have to be prepared for in the military, like the rape culture and the racism and all of those different things that can come against you. You know, you have to be mentally prepared for that. I wasn't mentally prepared for it when I went in. I knew there were little things, but to the level it was, I was not ready. So that's the main thing I say. Just ask around. Talk to your community. You know, go to a VFW, which is a Veterans of Foreign Wars. You know, it's like a group of people that have been deployed different places. They have them in every area. Go find your local VFW or American Legion and go talk to them and find out, you know, what they had to deal with. Ask them these type of questions.
That's a good idea, yeah.
You know, so that way you're not going in blind like I did.
Right.
Like my grandpa, he told me some stuff, but he didn't tell me how deep it was because he wanted it so bad for me to go.
And he's also a man,
Yes.
too. So his
And he don't
perspective
know.
is probably
Yeah.
different. Yeah, I can imagine.
He had no idea. Granted, he dealt with the racism because he was in back in the '60s.
Right.
You know what I'm
Ooh, okay.
you know what I'm saying? Like they was still, God, it was bad back then. You know, so.
Well, let me ask you if we could go back a little bit into the whole the rape scenario. Did you see this man afterwards? Were you having to like run into him and?
Me and him lived in the same barracks.
Oh wow.
He lived on the floor underneath me.
Okay.
Was he acting weird afterwards? Did he feel like he did something wrong?
No.
Could you tell? Okay.
No, he was one of them kind of people. You know, I'ma still come say hi to you and stuff, and see what I could get away with. You know.
So you had to deal with him even after the
I
fact.
did. And he was in a different unit, thankfully, you know, but there still was that passing in the hallway, you know, passing, you know, when I'm out and about in the city, because Okinawa's only but so big, so, and the places that Americans frequent, they're not that far from base, so they didn't, you know, it wasn't no getting away from the news.
Tell us how, for people who have never had to deal with this themselves, tell us how that made you feel to have to run into him or have to deal with him after the fact.
It makes you feel so small and so low. Gosh, I'm sorry, y'all.
I'm sorry that you have to take you back there.
No, because it needs to be talked about. Gosh, I felt helpless because no matter who I could have went to, it was always that chance of, oh girl, shut up, you crying, you're doing too much. It was scary because you know you never know what could if it could happen again. What's on his mind? None of that. It just.
And clearly you're still dealing with it, clearly. So it's not a situation that's just come and go.
No.
This is years later, and the emotions are still there.
What do you say to people who, because your story is your story, it's unique, but it's also not uncommon. Where you said, I let this person into my space, and then something went wrong, and I wanted to stop. And so, you know, with the whole Me Too movement that, you know, we've been having this conversation around rape, the R. Kelly, all these things where people have the idea that, well, you let him in.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, did you deal with did you deal with some of that where perhaps you felt like you were responsible? Okay, and did you think others would look at you the same way?
I beat myself up for it for a long time. Like, to the point I wouldn't even talk about it because there was always that chance of, people looking at me like, oh, well, you let him in there. I mean, you was already talking to him, so why he raped you now? You've been having sex with him. Why is he raped now?
Mm-hmm.
So I just, kept my mouth shut.
Well, how did you get to a place where you were able to say to yourself, no, that wasn't my fault. I'm not responsible.
Well, I got to that point after starting to work with Healing Stone. I had got rose quartz. That was my first stone ever.
That's the heart chakra.
Oh man,
Elevates the heart.
it does. And that was the only stone I had worked with for a very long time. And one thing I found, it imparts on you an unconditional love that's like no other. Like, it don't matter what it is. You sit and you look at it in a different light after you work with rose quartz for a while, because it allows you to have that acceptance, like, okay, you know what, that is what it is. There's nothing I can do to change this, and all right, how do I move forward? And you go from there. So, yeah, it took a minute for me, it really did take a minute for me to get to that point. I didn't start working with stones until I was out of service for a year. Yeah, that's when they found me. And ever since then, it's just been like, it's been amazing.
So now, because I know we've been talking about a lot of the detrimental parts of for your story. Were there any, in all fairness, were there any parts of the military that you can praise or that you look back at and are grateful for?
I will say I'm grateful I was able to live my childhood dream early. I had always wanted to work in the birthing, medical, midwifery, that field.
Yeah.
I was always fixated on it since I was a kid. Watching the Discovery Channel since I was like 8, like just sitting there watching it. And I had the chance to go in the service, and of course you get to pick your job before you ship off. And I was telling them, oh, I want medical, that's it. I don't want nothing medical. And he was like, oh, I don't have it available. I don't care, I'll wait. And I had to wait anyway because I had to graduate high school, so it don't matter. And I ended up shipping off, and I went to my training, and I got trained as a general duty corpsman, which is a quad 0, we call it, which means I could be placed anywhere, general duty. And when I got here to Bethesda, they initially had me in internal medicine, so I kind of had a little bit of that exposure, before then. And then they ended up moving me and telling me I had to run the women's health clinic in Bethesda when the Army came over. So I always said I wanted to have my own clinic, run my own clinic, help deliver babies, and I did it. And I was nothing but 18 years old when I did it. So just having that experience, oh my God, like I know for sure that's my calling because I did it and I love it, and it's amazing. It's really amazing.
And clearly you're in a better place now. Because, I mean, you tell me about all the loss, the weight you lost, your business.
Yeah.
Whenever I see you, you got a big bright smile on your face. Tell us your weight journey.
Oh man. So after I got kicked out at 185, I actually got out and gained some more weight.
Oh, wow.
My biggest, I was 209. And this is after I got the birth control taken out. That's the crazy thing. So I know it was my depression that caused it. I had lost my grandfather around that time, so he's like my father figure, so it was real hard on me. And I gained all that weight. And I had ended up meeting somebody who was real special, and they introduced me to metaphysics. And I sat and studied that with him for a little bit, and I ran across somebody named Infinite Waters on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, he's awesome. His energy. Yes. Can I get a hello?
You do?
But I had came across him, and he was talking about the vegan challenge. And I was like, what's that? So I started looking that up, and I was like, whoa, all this stuff in our food, like I can't keep doing that to myself. So I decided to embark on a vegan journey. And I'm not a vegan no more now. But
It's okay.
yeah, oh my god, that journey was so amazing. I stayed on board for like a year and a half. Yeah, unfortunately I lost too much weight, so I had to come back on the other side. But
The other side meaning eating meat again?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So wait a minute, you went vegan for a year and a half
Yeah.
and lost how much weight?
at the smallest, 100 pounds.
Just by cutting out meat.
Yes, and dairy.
And there.
Wow.
And the stress had part to do with it too. But,
Okay.
you know,
Because you were still stressing
yeah,
at the time.
yeah. Still
Which
stressing.
is so interesting. I'm glad you brought up that point because I remember the rethology. Help me, Aya. She taught how you can be jubilee happy, running around, doing all these good things, and still be depressed.
Oh yeah.
So here you are on the journey to lose weight and change your life around, yet you're still depressed.
Because I wasn't dealing with it.
Mm.
I wasn't dealing with what was going on up here.
Mm.
And I refused to deal with it.
Mm.
You know, and
I noticed that, like, with people who were in the military
yeah.
or in law enforcement, they are very good at compartmentalizing stuff. This goes here. So when I leave this room and go into that room, this no longer exists.
Let me,
They compartmentalize very
let
well.
me tell you, you're trained to do it.
Yes, two-way scary.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you how it goes. When you get off that bus at the training depot, that person you were when you got off that bus is gone. And they ain't coming back. And when you get there, everything is everything got a purpose behind it. You know, that's just life. And the purpose behind that training is to strip you
Break you down.
of any type of emotion, any type of personality, anything they can get their hands on.
Your identity.
Yes.
They want a machine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's what you are. You're a machine to them. They don't care. They do not care. There's so much, oh my God, it angers me how much they don't freaking care. Because you're throwing away people's lives. You know what I'm saying? There are people that volunteer to do this because they feel it's a good choice.
A duty, a service.
Yes. You feel like you're serving your country, but when after the end of all that, when you finally get out, you take that uniform off, and you sitting there with that PTSD and stuff on you so hard, and you sit and realize I wasn't serving my country, I was serving these greedy elites.
Yeah, but you're the first person, I have to say, that I've met that can speak about the military, because most people you meet, they talk about the military like almost like they romanticize it.
Yeah.
But again, that's the compartmentalizing that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? You decide what you're gonna focus on.
And I wonder too if it's a part of you that because you know that you have invested so much of your time and energy and effort
That's exactly what it is.
into this, right? So how am I then? Okay, if I'm trashing, well, what is that saying about the choices? Do I make good choices in life?
It don't say nothing about you because it's about that intent you put behind it. I put my heart and soul into that. You get what I'm saying? Because I knew my family would be proud of me if I went in and excelled in it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that didn't necessarily make me beat myself up for this service. It's just the tail end of it. You get what I'm saying? When you find out what the military is really about, it's about resources. It's about going and taking over land and trying to expand and doing all these things. It's when you find that out, it's like, well, dang, I don't.
I was used.
Yeah, that's exactly what. Yeah, you're used. You're a toy.
Wow. Okay, so back to your scenario. So you transitioned into veganism, and you lost over 100 pounds. And how was life for you at that point?
Oh man, gosh. Granted, you know, nothing was where I wanted it to be, but I was happy. I lost all that weight. I felt really great. Like, I looked great. I had this glow. Like, I had energy for days. Like, you couldn't tell me to sit down nowhere. Gosh, I love it. I miss it. Like, I want to go back to that. It's just, I got to find that balance.
Yeah.
You know, so I can keep the weight on and be healthy.
Yeah.
You still look good though.
I'm gaining weight back now. I actually had just weighed myself this morning. I'm like 134 pounds. So.
And where were you at your smallest?
109.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Because you went back to eating meat.
Well, that's why I went back here, because I got too small.
Oh.
109 pounds, I went bad, like sick. So.
Yeah.
I had to come back on the dark side, unfortunately.
Okay, now tell us about your business.
Oh, so my business. I hand craft your healing stones. It's just.
You do an awesome job at
Thank
it too.
you.
I've seen your work.
Thank you.
Really good stuff.
Yeah, and I work with the healing stones, and I also deal with I make organic skincare too. That's also healing stone infused.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that way you get in the properties of the stones, even though you might not necessarily carry them with you. You know,
Yeah.
you put that skincare product on, you wash up with the body wash or
Yeah.
shampoo or whatever.
Yeah.
You still got that on.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Cool. And so what? You have a book there.
Yes. So this one here, this is Crystals and Minerals and Stones by Margaret Ann Limbo. It's a really good book. It got all different types of stones in it and the meanings. The page I had it on was on hematite actually. I actually wanted to run down a list of different stones that work with PTSD if y'all don't mind.
Please do. Oh, man.
But yeah, hematite, that's something I work with very close. I actually have it on right now in this necklace.
Yeah.
But basically, hematite is a grounding stone. It's good for your blood. And mainly, it gives you peace, calm, and focus.
Okay.
So, I find when I work with hematite, when I wear it, especially because it's a stone for Geminis, it helps calm my restless mind. I find, no, seriously. It's bad, y'all. Okay. I find when I work with the hematite, I'm a lot more calm.
Oh, okay.
A whole lot more calm. Like, everything flows effortlessly. You see how this conversation is going. It's just flowing. I'm not, all right, let me grab this and let me tell them this too. It's not like that. I'm streamlined. See, I got notes for once. Like, it works wonders, seriously.
Okay.
But yeah, the list I have, right? So if you got any type of PTSD, these are the stones you will want to look for. You got lepidolite, green fluorite, green kunzite, apophyllite, amethyst, azurite. Black tourmaline is one of my personal favorites.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta protect your neck. That one right there, that'll help with the PTSD as well. And lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli, that's one of my personal favorites. That actually helps me talk about this.
Mm.
It helps you get into the mind state where it's not really bothering you. It'll help you find the words.
Mm.
What color is that?
Blue. It's for your throat chakra.
Yeah.
Mm.
Is that like turquoise?
No.
It's
Well,
like
yeah,
darker.
turquoise.
Turquoise is good for like giving
Right, it's for
speeches
your
and talking. Yeah,
communication.
yes. Okay.
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
a lapis, you know, is a deeper shade of blue.
Okay, got it.
Okay. And so where can they find these things? Now, because I know you sell
Yes.
most of these things, if
So-
not all.
If y'all want something from me personally, y'all can hit me up on Instagram. The name is neckbits.niche. NEKHBETS.NICHE. I'm also on Facebook, named Neckbits Niche. My website is www.neckbitsniche.com. And then y'all can reach out to me if y'all trying to find, you know, different stones, or you trying to find like local metaphysical shops or something like that. Reach out. I can help you find it.
Do you ship?
I actually do ship.
Okay.
Just currently just in the U.S., not internationally yet, but working on that.
Can you spell Nekbit again? Nekbit niche.
NEKHBETSNICHE.
.com.
Yes.
Okay.
Cool. Well, this has been our Empower Hour. Unless you had anything else that you wanted to add that we haven't discussed.
Okay, so one thing I would like to say, we gotta beat the stigma, y'all. Mental health is such a big deal. And I feel like once you get that under wraps, once you figure you out and what you need, your life will feel a lot better. And in our community especially, we need to work on that. You know, we need to capitalize on all the mental health figures out here, you know, using their services, so that way we can be our best self. So yeah, just love on yourself, y'all. I mean, it's that easy, you know.
Well said. Well said. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us here today. Yes, and I'm looking forward to doing more business with you. So yes, and family, this has been our Empower Hour, and if anything resonated with you, as every week, we only ask that you do share. Please share the information. You never know who may be on the opposite end of that share that really needs to hear this. You know, it may not resonate with you per se, but maybe somebody else that you share it with, it hits home and it's helpful to them, for them to be able to get the help they need. So definitely share the information, please. Until next week, we ask that you take care of each other out there. Peace. Thank you. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Oh my God, that went so well. I was nervous.
Were you? I would have never known.
Oh my gosh, that's